giving a kickoff speech to everyone here, and I just want to say how honored I am and how thankful I am that I've been asked to speak here today. Okay. You done? Okay. And I do this and I try to be as outspoken as I can because I remember what it's like to be an oppressed person. Yep. Right. Yep. That's transphobic. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what I think Pride is and what it means to me. And just to give a little bit about me, my name is Austin Higgs. I am a trans femme of color, and I thank you. Ooh, she is angry. Is that my phone? Okay. I'm a trans femme of color, and okay, all right, I'm just gonna get through this. I am 28, almost 29 years old, and that is of importance to me because trans women of color in our country have an average life expectancy of 35 years old, and so I see myself as someone who wants to be more than a statistic, and someone who wants to see their 36th, their 40th, their 80th, and their 115th birthday. And I want that for all of you. So let's get right into it. I just want to talk about what Pride is and what that means to me. And Pride is the recognition of the contributions of a society that have been undervalued, underserved, underrepresented, and over-ostracized. Pride is the celebration of irony, for it is the celebration of a people who were told that they have and are nothing. It's ironic because we know that we have and we are everything. We do and we have contributed to the fine arts, science, civil rights movement, fashion, politics, and every other facet of life that we know of. And so I think that that's ironic because we're told that we're less than when in fact we are amazing, and if anything, we are all superhuman. Yep. When and where did Pride begin? A lot of us know our queer history, but some of us don't, and that's okay because it's not talked about in the mainstream, and that's part of our struggle. So the LGBTQIA plus people have always congregated when oppressed in order to live their lives. But the largest movement started in New York City at the Stonewall Inn in 1969, 50 years ago from yesterday. So we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. Pride began as an act of resisting against police brutality. We were fed up and we were no longer going to accept a life that in the most obscure margins. We were tired of being labeled sexual deviants who were regarded as subhuman at best. So we fought back and we used our pride as our motivation, our mantra, and therefore our weapon. These movements were a collective effort, but we cannot forget that the faces of these riots were predominantly femmes of color, like Marsha P. Johnson, Zazu Nova, and Sylvia Rivera. Back then, even they were marginalized among the LGBT communities, and yet they paved the way for their entire community to progress and thrive. We thank them for their service, and we hope that their spirits live within each and all of us as we try to navigate this treacherous political climate. So who does Pride represent, and why is it important? Pride is for the historically oppressed. It won't mean anything unless you know what it feels like to be on the margins. So to all the organizers of Boston Straight Pride, go on and have your straight pride. I can't stop you. But if you're just trying to mimic what you see at our prides, just know that it will never capture the life, spirit, vibrancy, love, and earnestness as ours does, because you have nothing to celebrate but mediocrity. If you're celebrating an existence that has never been under threat, and you do so to pull attention away from those who have been under threat for living an authentic life, then you will never be anything beyond mediocre. The LGBTQIA plus communities are experts in the full spectrum of the human condition because our community intersects with every other community. We are everywhere. We have always been everywhere. Our art and our forms of expression are that much more moving because our lives are full spectrum in a way that those celebrating straight pride could never understand. So go on and have your straight pride, aka just another Friday night at the Chick-fil-A in your suburban town. Honestly, you shouldn't be mad that you don't get a proper pride, and you should be thankful that you don't need one, because as marvelous as all of this is, it is a small consolation for watching our family be violated, ostracized, murdered, and forgotten.
Boo straight pride!
Boo straight pride! So, how can we show our pride on this day? First of all, we can vote. We can register to vote and then vote. We can become politically active. We can show support for migrants and refugees who are in concentration camps, and we can do our best to abolish the very existence of concentration camps in our country.
That's right. Thank you for calling it what it is.
Speak out against the criminalization of sex work. Offer your home to those in dire straits because our communities face homelessness and unemployment at disproportionate levels. Remember that trans women face the most violence in our community, and trans women of color, and prioritize their lives so that they can see their 36th birthday. Remember their names and fight for their existence. And before I end tonight, I want to list off all of the trans women of color who've been murdered in 2019. Dana Martin, 31 years old. Jasleen Ware, age unknown. Ashanti Carmen, 27 years old. Claire Legato, 21 years old. Malaysia Booker, 23 years old. Michelle Tamika Washington, 40 years old. Paris Cameron, 21 years old. Chanel Lindsay, 26 years old. Chanel Skurlock, 23 years old. Zoe Spears, 23 years old. And most recently, that we know of, Brooklyn Lindsay, 32 years old. That makes 11 in 2019 that we know of. Of course, there are a lot of acts of violence that go unnoticed and undocumented, either through misgendering or lack of social media relevance. So in the final way that I can advise on how we can celebrate Pride is that we can be together and we can celebrate community and we can love each other and we can protect each other. So with that, I say happy March to each and every one of you. And I'll give it right on back.
Thank you, Austin. Give it up one more time.